The Veldran Empire had conquered 17 star systems in just 10 years. Their armies were huge. Their weapons were powerful. Their generals were smart and careful. No enemy had ever killed a Veldran commander in battle. They were too well protected. General Throvax was the most powerful of them all. He commanded the Third Fleet, which had destroyed entire planets. He wore armor made from the strongest metal in the galaxy. His personal shield could stop any weapon known to exist. He always stayed far behind the front lines, surrounded by hundreds of guards. On that day, General Throvax stood on his command platform on the planet Kepler 442b. The humans had built a defensive line 12 kilometers away. Throvax watched through his viewing screen as his soldiers prepared to attack. He felt no fear. Why would he? No enemy had ever come close to hurting him. His shield hummed quietly around his body. It refreshed itself thousands of times per second. There was a tiny gap in the refresh cycle, just 0.003 seconds long. The gap was only 2 centimeters wide. No weapon could ever hit such a small target at such a distance. It was impossible. Throvax raised his arm to give the order to attack. Then his head simply disappeared. There was no warning. No sound. No flash of light. One moment the general was standing tall and proud. The next moment his body fell to the ground, headless. A single tungsten round had traveled 12 kilometers through the air. It had moved at a speed close to light itself. It had found that tiny 2-centimeter gap at exactly the right moment. The guards screamed in confusion. Officers ran in every direction. The attack never happened. The Veldran army retreated in chaos. Back at the human defensive line, a young soldier lowered his rifle. His name was Junho. He was 22 years old. He came from a small farm outside a city called Daejeon. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. He had just killed the most powerful general in the Veldran Empire. His commanding officer, a woman named Sujin, walked up to him. "Good shot," she said simply. Junho nodded. "Thank you, Commander." That was all. No celebration. No medals. Just a job done well. Junho packed up his rifle and went to get some food. He was hungry. The news of General Throvax's death spread across the galaxy within hours. The Veldran High Council met in emergency session. They were furious. They were scared. They wanted answers. "This is impossible," said Counselor Vrix, a tall insectoid creature with sharp forelimbs and twitching antennae. No weapon should be able to make that shot. No computer could calculate those variables. The distance, the wind, the shield timing. It cannot be done. And yet it was done, said Admiral Korath, the new commander of the Third Fleet. Our greatest general is dead. We must find this sniper, Rick said. We must learn who they are. We must destroy them. The council agreed. They would capture human prisoners. They would interrogate them. They would find this impossible sniper and make an example of them. 3 days later, Veldran soldiers captured a small group of humans during a skirmish. There were 3 of them. The first was a young woman named Yuna. She was a medic. She had been trying to save wounded soldiers when she was captured. The second was a man named Taiho. He was an engineer who built bridges and roads. The third was a comm officer named Jisoo. His job was to send and receive messages. None of them were snipers. At least, that was what the Veldrans thought. Counselor Vrix himself came to interrogate them. He wanted to find the human sniper. He wanted to understand how that shot had been made. The 3 humans were brought into a cold metal room. They were tired and hurt, but they were not broken. They sat in chairs and looked at Vrix without fear. You will tell me what I want to know, Rick said. His voice was cold and sharp. Who is your sniper? What is their name? Where did they train? How did they make that shot? Yuna looked at Taiho. Taiho looked at Jisoo. Then all three of them started to laugh. Rix slammed his forelimbs on the table. You dare laugh at me? Your general would never laugh at a Voldran counselor. We are not laughing at you, Yuna said. We are laughing at your question. My question is simple. Who is the sniper? Taiho leaned forward. His eyes were bright, despite his wounds. That is exactly why we are laughing. You think there is one sniper. You think there is one special human who can make that shot. Of course, Rick said. Such skill requires a lifetime of training. Only an elite warrior could do what was done. We will find them. We will kill them. And your army will lose its greatest weapon. The three humans looked at each other again. This time they did not laugh. They smiled. It was a dangerous smile. A knowing smile. Counselor, Jisoo said slowly, I need to ask you something. When you captured us, what did you think we were? A medic. An engineer. A communications officer. Common soldiers. Not important. And if I told you, Jisoo continued, that any one of us could have made that shot? Rix's antennae stopped moving. For the first time, he felt something strange in his chest. Something cold. Something that might have been fear. That is impossible, he said. No, Yuna replied softly. That is humanity. Counselor Vrix did not believe them. He could not believe them. The idea was too strange, too impossible. In every species he had ever studied, there were warriors and there were workers. There were hunters and there were farmers. The roles were separate. The skills were different, but these three humans sat before him and claimed they could all be snipers. A medic, an engineer, a comm officer. They had to be a lie. You are trying to confuse me, Rick said. You are protecting your real sniper. Tell me the truth, or I will make your lives very difficult. Taiho sighed. He was tired. His arm was broken from the battle. But he looked at Vrix with steady eyes. I am an engineer, Taiho said. I build bridges. I design buildings. I fix machines. That is my job in the military. But before I joined the army, I spent 3 years shooting in competitions. I placed 4th in the planetary championships. I can hit a target at 1,000 meters on a calm day. Rix's antennae twitched. You are lying. I am not. Taiho pointed at Yuna. She is a medic. Her job is to save lives, not take them. But every soldier in our army must pass a marksmanship test. She qualified as an expert. That means she can hit a target at 500 meters with no problem. Yuna nodded. I grew up in Bizin. My father taught me to shoot when I was 10. He said every person should know how to defend themselves. I never planned to be a soldier. I wanted to be a doctor. But I can still shoot better than most of your elite guards. Rix turned to Jisoo. And you? What is your story? Jisoo smiled. It was a calm smile. A patient smile. My grandfather lived in the mountains of Gangwon. He hunted deer and wild boar. He taught my father to shoot. My father taught me. By the time I was 8 years old, I could hit a moving target at 800 meters. 8 years old? Rix repeated. Double quotes. Yes, I was not special. Many children in my village learned the same way. Shooting is not just for soldiers in our culture. It is a tradition, a sport, a way of life. Rick sat back in his chair. His mind was racing. In the Veldran Empire, only the warrior caste learned to fight. They trained from birth. They dedicated their entire lives to combat. The idea that a child could learn to shoot as a hobby was strange to him. This makes no sense, Rick said. Your species has no claws, no armor, no natural weapons. You are soft and weak compared to Veldrans. How can you be a species of killers? Taiho laughed. It was not a mean laugh. It was almost sad. That is exactly why we became killers, he said. We had no claws. We had no armor. We had no venom or sharp teeth, so we had to find another way to survive. What way? We learned to kill from far away. Taiho leaned forward. Think about it, counselor. If you have no natural weapons, what do? You make weapons. And the best weapon is one that lets you kill your enemy before they can reach you. Jisoo picked up the explanation. Millions of years ago, our ancestors hunted animals much bigger and stronger than themselves. They could not fight these animals up close. So they learned to throw rocks. They learned to throw spears. They learned to aim. Your bodies evolved for this, Yuna added. Human shoulders are designed to throw things with great force and accuracy. Human eyes can track movement across long distances. Human brains can calculate where a moving target will be, even without thinking about it. Vrix listened in silence. He had studied many species, but he had never heard anything like this. So you are saying, he said slowly, that your entire species evolved to be long-range killers? Yes, Taiho said. That is exactly what we are saying. We did not become snipers because of training. We became snipers because of evolution. The skill is in our blood, in our bones, in the way our bodies are built. Vrix thought about the shot that killed General Throvax. 12 kilometers, a 2-centimeter gap, a timing window of 0.003 seconds. It should have been impossible. But if what these humans said was true, maybe it was not impossible at all. Maybe it was just what humans did. How many of your soldiers can shoot like this? Vrix asked. All of them, Yuna said simply. All of them? Every human soldier must qualify with a rifle. Most civilians know how to shoot too. It is part of our culture. Our parents teach us. Our schools teach us. Our games teach us. Vrix felt that cold feeling in his chest again. Fear. Real fear. The Veldran Empire has conquered 17 star systems, he said. We have defeated hundreds of species. We have never lost a war. Jisoo looked at him. His eyes were hard now. No more smiles. You have never fought humans before, he said. You thought you could find our one special sniper and kill them. You thought that would solve your problem. But there is no one special sniper. There are billions of us. And any one of us could have made that shot. Vrix stood up suddenly. He needed to report this to the High Council. He needed to warn them. This war was different from any war they had fought before. They were not fighting an army. They were fighting an entire species of hunters. As he left the room, he heard Yuna call out to him. Counselor, one more thing. He turned back. The soldier who killed your general, he was just a farm boy, 22 years old. He learned to shoot by hunting birds that ate his family's crops. He was nothing special to us. Vrix said nothing. He walked away, but her words stayed with him. Nothing special. A farm boy had killed the greatest general in the Veldran Empire. And to the humans, he was nothing special. What kind of species had they started a war with? The Veldran High Council did not believe Counselor Vrix at first. How could they? The idea was too strange. A species where everyone could kill from far away. A species that had evolved to be hunters. It sounded like a story made up by scared soldiers. But Vrix was not a scared soldier. He was a counselor. He studied other species for a living. And he had seen something in those 3 human prisoners that worried him deeply. We need to learn more, Vrix told the council. We need to understand their history, their evolution, their culture. Only then can we know how to defeat them. Admiral Korath agreed. He had taken command of the 3rd Fleet after General Throvax's death. He did not want to end up like his predecessor. Go back to the prisoners, Korath ordered. Make them talk. Learn everything you can. So Vrix returned to the cold metal room where the 3 humans waited. This time, he did not threaten them. He did not demand answers. He sat down across from them and spoke in a calm voice. I want to understand your species, he said. Tell me your history. Tell me how you became what you are. Jisoo looked at the others. They nodded. There was no harm in telling the truth. In fact, maybe the truth would scare the Veldrins enough to end this war. How far back do you want me to go? Jisoo asked. The beginning. Tell me how humans learned to kill. Jisoo took a deep breath and began. 200,000 years ago, humans lived on a planet called Earth. We were not the strongest animals there. We were not the fastest. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. There were animals that could kill us easily in a fight. Rix nodded. This matched what he knew about humans. They were physically weak compared to Veldrins. But we had two things that other animals did not have. Jisoo continued. We had big brains. And we had hands that could grip and throw. Throw? Yes. Throwing is more important than you might think. Our ancestors survived by throwing rocks at animals. Then they learned to throw spears. A human with a spear could kill an animal from 20 or 30 meters away. The animal never had a chance to fight back. Yuna spoke next. Our shoulders are special. They are built for throwing. No other animal on Earth could throw as hard or as accurately as humans. This was our great advantage. This is what made us the top hunters on our planet. Taiho added, and our eyes. Human eyes face forward. They work together to judge distance. We can see exactly how far away something is. This makes us very good at hitting targets. Rix thought about this. The Veldrin body was built for close combat. Strong arms. Hard shell. Sharp forelimbs. They were designed to fight enemies in front of them. The idea of killing from far away was strange to their culture. So your ancestors threw rocks and spears, Rix said. But that was long ago. What happened next? We got better, Jisoo said simply. First spears. Then bows and arrows. A good archer could kill from 100 meters. Then we invented guns. A gun could kill from 500 meters. Then better guns. 1,000 meters. 2,000 meters. Today, Taiho said, our best rifles can hit targets from 5 kilometers. With the right equipment and training, 10 kilometers or more. The shot that killed your general was 12 kilometers. It was a good shot. But it was not impossible. Not for a human. Rix's antennae trembled. You speak of this so calmly, as if killing from such distance is normal. To us, it is normal, Yuna said. We have been doing it for 200,000 years. It is in our nature. Our bodies are built for it. Our minds are wired for it. When a human picks up a rifle, something deep inside us knows what to do. Jisoo stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, the home of humanity, the place where his ancestors had learned to throw rocks at animals. Let me tell you something else, Jisoo said. On Earth, we did not just hunt animals. We also hunted each other. Humans fought wars for thousands of years. We became very good at killing other humans. Rix was quiet. In Veldrin history, wars were rare. Their empire had grown through conquest of weaker species. They had never faced an enemy that could match them. We invented weapons that could kill thousands in seconds, Jisoo continued. We built bombs that could destroy entire cities. We created poisons that could kill millions. Then we went to space, and we brought all that knowledge with us. He turned back to Rix. Your empire has conquered 17 star systems. You have never lost a war. But the species you fought before were not like us. They did not spend their entire history learning to kill. They did not evolve as hunters. They did not practice shooting for fun. Yuna spoke softly. In human culture, shooting is a sport. Children learn to shoot as a game. Families go hunting together for fun. We have competitions where thousands of people gather to see who can shoot the best. We celebrate our ability to kill from far away. It is in our movies, Taiho said. Our books. Our games. Young humans grow up pretending to shoot each other. They learn to aim without even knowing they are learning. Rix finally understood. This was not just an army he was fighting. This was not just a species. This was 200,000 years of evolution and culture, all focused on one thing, killing from a distance. The shot that killed General Frovax, Rix said. You said any human could have made it. Maybe not any human, Jisu admitted. But many humans. Thousands of humans in our army alone. The soldier who made that shot was just one of them. If he had died before the battle, someone else would have taken the shot. If that person had died, there would be another. And another. And another. Rick sat in silence for a long time. How do we defeat a species like yours? He finally asked. The three humans looked at each other. Then Yuna answered. You do not. The Veldran High Council still did not fully believe. They had heard Councilor Rix's reports. They had listened to his warnings. But the idea that ordinary humans could shoot like elite warriors was too hard to accept. These prisoners are lying, said one council member. They are trying to scare us. They want us to give up the war. We need proof, said Admiral Korath. Real proof. Not just words. So they sent a message to the human commanders. They proposed a test. A demonstration. They would select 100 humans at random from the prison camps. Not soldiers. Just ordinary civilians who had been captured during the war. Teachers, farmers, merchants, regular people. These 100 humans would be given rifles. They would shoot at targets. The Veldrans would watch and see for themselves what humans could really do. The human commanders agreed. They knew the truth. They had nothing to hide. The demonstration was held on a flat plane on Kepler 442b. Both sides agreed to a temporary ceasefire. Veldran observers set up their cameras and measuring devices. Human officers brought the 100 prisoners to the firing range. Commander Sujin was there to watch. She looked at the group of civilians. They were thin from months in prison. Their clothes were torn. Some of them were old. Some were young. None of them looked like warriors. There was a chef named Dohan. He was 53 years old. His hands were scarred from years of cutting vegetables and cooking over hot fires. He had never been in the military. There was a musician named Minji. She was 27 years old. She played the guitar and sang songs about love and loss. She had been captured while visiting her family on a colony world. There was a university student named Hyok. He was only 19. He had been studying literature when the war started. His dream was to become a writer. These were not soldiers. These were ordinary people. Councilor Rix walked among them, studying them with his insectoid eyes. He could not understand how these soft, weak creatures could be dangerous. But he remembered what the prisoners had told him. He remembered the 200,000 years of evolution. He remembered the culture of hunting and shooting. Begin the test, Admiral Korath ordered. The targets were set up at different distances. 100 meters, 300 meters, 500 meters, 800 meters, and finally 1,200 meters. That last distance was important. It was close to how far the shot had been that killed General Frovax. The humans were given standard military rifles. Nothing special. Just basic weapons that any soldier would use. They lined up at the firing positions. At 100 meters, every single human hit their target. All 100 of them. The chef, the musician, the student, everyone. The Veldran observers made notes. 100 meters was easy, they said. Any trained soldier could do that. At 300 meters, 97 humans hit their targets. Only 3 missed. and those 3 had been wounded badly and could not hold their rifles steady. The observers made more notes. Their confidence started to fade. At 500 meters, 84 humans hit their targets. The chef Dowan hit the center of his target. The musician Minji only missed by a few centimeters. The student Hyok hit his target on the first shot. Rix watched in growing alarm. These were not soldiers. These were civilians. A chef, a musician, a student. And they were shooting like trained warriors. At 800 meters, 61 humans hit their targets. More than half. More than half of a random group of civilians could hit a target at 800 meters. Veldran Special Forces required 3 years of training to shoot at that distance. Admiral Korath was silent. His staff officers whispered nervously to each other. At 1200 meters, the final test began. This was the distance that the Veldrans considered almost impossible. Only their very best snipers could shoot accurately at this range. It required perfect technique, perfect calm, perfect focus. 33 humans hit their targets. 33 out of 100. 1/3 of the group. Random civilians with no military training. The chef Dowan hit his target. His hands, scarred from cooking, were steady on the rifle. He had learned to shoot from his father, who had hunted in the mountains. The musician Minji hit her target. Her fingers, trained by years of playing guitar, knew how to control the trigger. She had gone to a shooting range every month since she was 15. Just for fun. The student Hyok hit his target. His eyes, used to reading small text in books, could see the target clearly, even at that distance. He had played shooting games his whole life. The skills had transferred to real guns. Rix walked up to Hyok after the test. "You are a student," Rix said. "You study literature. How can you shoot like this?" Hyok looked at him with calm eyes. "I learned when I was a child. My uncle took me hunting. My friends and I played games where we shot at targets. In school, we had competitions. Everyone learned. Everyone? Yes. In my class at university, I was not even the best shooter. My friend Sunho was better. My girlfriend Hannah was better too. I am just average." Rix turned to look at the other humans. The chef was helping an older woman with her rifle. The musician was laughing with some of the other prisoners. They did not look like killers. They looked like ordinary people, but they were not ordinary. They were human, and that made all the difference. Admiral Korath called his officers together. "How many humans are there?" he asked quietly. "Approximately 12 billion across their colonies," an officer replied. Korath did the math in his head. If 1/3 of random civilians could shoot at 1200 meters, how many trained soldiers could shoot even farther? How many could make shots like the one that killed General Throvax? Millions. There could be millions of them. "Withdraw our forces from the Kepler system," Korath ordered. "Immediately. Contact the High Council. Tell them we need to negotiate peace." His officers stared at him in shock. "Admiral, we have never retreated from a conquest. We have never fought humans before," Korath said. "And I do not intend to lose more generals to their farm boys." He looked at the humans one last time. They were being led back to the prison camps. But they walked with their heads high. They knew what they had proven today, that the Veldran Empire had finally met a species it could not conquer. The war ended 3 weeks after the demonstration. It did not end with a great battle. It did not end with explosions or death. It ended with talking. The Veldran High Council sent a message to the Human Alliance. They wanted peace. They wanted to negotiate. For the first time in their history, the Veldran Empire was asking to stop a war. The peace talks were held on a neutral station in deep space. Both sides sent their best diplomats. The humans sent Commander Su Jin, who had led the defense of Kepler 442b. The Veldrins sent Counselor Vrix, who had interrogated the prisoners and learned the truth about humanity. The negotiations took many days. There were arguments about territory. There were discussions about trade. There were long debates about who had started the war and who was responsible for the deaths. But through it all, Vrix kept thinking about one thing. The shot. The impossible shot that had killed General Throvax and changed everything. On the last day of negotiations, after the treaty was signed, Vrix asked the question that had been burning in his mind. The shot that killed General Throvax, he said. I have accepted that many humans could have made it. But I must know, who actually did? Who was the sniper? The human diplomats looked at each other. There was a long silence. Commander Sujin stood up slowly. Her hair was gray now, streaked through the black. Her face was lined with the stress of war. But her eyes were sharp and clear. His name was Junho, she said. Private First Class Junho. He was 22 years old. Vrix listened carefully. He wanted to know everything about this soldier who had changed history. Junho grew up on a farm outside a city called Daejeon. Sujin continued. His family grew rice and vegetables. They were not rich. They were not important. They were just farmers. She paused, remembering. When Junho was 8 years old, birds started eating his family's crops. His father gave him an old rifle and taught him to shoot. Junho spent hours every day shooting at the birds. He became very good at it. Not because he wanted to be a soldier. Not because he dreamed of glory. He just wanted to protect his family's food. Vrix tried to picture it. A young boy on a farm, shooting at birds. Learning to aim. Learning to be patient. Learning to hit small targets from far away. All without knowing he was training to be one of the deadliest snipers in the galaxy. When the war started, Junho enlisted. He was assigned to the defense of Kepler 442b. He had only been in the military for 8 months. He was not special. He was not famous. He was just one soldier among thousands. But he made the shot, Rick said. Yes, on that day, he was assigned to a sniper position. He saw General Throvax through his scope. He calculated the distance. He watched the shield pattern. And when the moment came, he pulled the trigger. Sujin's voice became soft. He never knew he had changed the course of the war. He never knew that his shot would lead to peace. 3 weeks after the battle, his position was hit by artillery fire. He died instantly. Vrix was silent for a long moment. He died? Yes, he was buried on Kepler 442b. Just a simple grave. No special ceremony. Just a farm boy who did his job and died doing it. The room was quiet. Even the Veldrin diplomats felt something strange in their chests. Something like respect. Or maybe sadness. You could have told us he was a Special Forces soldier, Rick said finally. You could have made up a story about an elite warrior. It would have made more sense to us. But it would have been a lie, Sujin said. And the truth is more important. She looked at Vrix with steady eyes. You kept looking for our champions. Our elite. Our special warriors. You wanted to find the one human who could make impossible shots, so you could kill them and win the war. Vrix nodded slowly. That had been exactly the plan. But we do not work that way, Sujin continued. We are not a species of heroes and followers. We do not have a warrior caste. We do not have chosen ones. She gestured to the other humans in the room. Diplomats, officers, assistants. Every person in this room can shoot. My assistant was a competitive shooter in school. Our chief diplomat hunts deer every autumn. The woman who served us tea this morning won a marksmanship award when she was 16. Vrix looked around the room. These were diplomats, politicians, servants, and they could all kill from a distance. You asked who the sniper was. Sujin said. The answer is everyone. Everyone is one. Junho was not special. He was just the one who happened to be in the right place at the right time. If he had died before that battle, someone else would have taken the shot. Someone else would have killed your general. She leaned forward. And that is why you could never win this war. You killed Junho, but 10,000 others stepped forward who could have taken his place. You could kill 10,000 and 100,000 more would come. You could destroy our armies and our civilians would pick up rifles and fight you. Rix understood now. He truly understood. We are not a species that produces warriors, Sujin finished. We are a species of warriors. All of us. From the youngest child who throws a ball to the oldest grandmother who hunts for her dinner. Every single human carries the potential you saw in that shot. The peace treaty was signed that day. The Veldran Empire withdrew from all human territories. They never attacked human space again. Years later, Rix wrote a report for the Veldran archives. He called it The Human Problem. In it, he warned future generations about the strange species they had encountered. Do not fight the humans, he wrote. Do not threaten them. Do not underestimate them. They look weak. They look soft. They have no claws or armor or natural weapons. But they have something more dangerous. They have 200,000 years of evolution that made them perfect killers. They have a culture that celebrates the ability to kill from far away. And they have numbers that we cannot match. He ended the report with a simple conclusion. When dealing with humans, remember this. You cannot find and destroy their best warriors. Because every human is their best warrior. You cannot defeat their snipers. Because every human is a sniper. You ask them who among them could make an impossible shot. They answered, everyone. On Earth, in Korea, a small memorial was built outside the city of Daejeon. It stood in a field where rice used to grow. A simple stone with a simple name. Private First Class Junho. One of many. People came to visit from across human space. Most were not soldiers. They were farmers and teachers and students and cooks. They came because they understood what Junho meant. He was not a hero. He was not special. He was just a human who did what humans do. And that, more than anything, was what terrified the galaxy. Not the heroes. Not the champions. Not the elite warriors. Just ordinary humans. Being human. Everyone is one.